Hello, Rita. Good to be talking with you again. I think we last did a little session on video maybe 3 or 4 months ago. It was just a month or so after you joined, and you're helping us in impact sourcing and sustainability. I just kind of wanted to check in and understand, what have you been learning in the last few months? Any surprises? Any interesting takeaways?
Absolutely. I'm learning a lot. There's so much incredible work that's happening at Everest Group. But what's most exciting for me is that I'm seeing sustainability related work or relevance to the topics across a bunch of different um, service lines and research that we're doing. So, for instance, inclusion in clinical trials, what's the role of technology? We've had a lot of interesting conversation in the BFSI team regarding ESG data and the wider proliferation of that and how it's getting used. Who are the best players? We're talking about cloud and data centers and carbon footprints of those, and even what's the carbon footprint of programming. It's all just been really interesting. And then closer to my heart, the impact sourcing conversation is getting pulled into some of what we're talking about with talent wars and the future of work, and the great resignation. So it's amazing to see where all of the overlaps are and even how the team is responding to all of those overlaps.
Yeah, it's good to hear. And I know impact sourcing, we just launched our first kind of formal RFI a few weeks ago, and looking forward to seeing how that comes together over the balance of the year. So a lot of work ahead on that one. I think I've also heard you mention some interesting things you were picking up in COMO, or content moderation. Can you share a little bit about that as well?
Absolutely. So yeah, the services of trust and safety and content moderation, whether it's on social media platforms or in gaming, reviews and other hospitality platforms, there's actually an underlying ESG umbrella. There's obvious social impact when we think about trust and safety and content moderation. But we're also seeing that there's now some more regulatory oversight that's kind of bringing in the G of the ESG. And we're even seeing organizations that are part of the whole reporting mechanisms like SASB talking about Como. And what I found most interesting about talking to them about it was they sort of broke it up into three areas of interest: harmful content, freedom of expression, and worker well-being. And what they said was that initially they really didn't see investors focusing on the third, which is where we're doing quite a bit of work and thinking about health and safety. But now they're starting to see, as of literally this year, that that's much more of a focus for investors. So our work is going to get picked up not just by our clientele that's trying to improve all of these things, but even the investors that are looking at these companies.
Yeah, I find all of it interesting that we've spoken a lot the last decade about digital transformation. It was a lot about software and cloud and all these things. And it kind of feels like the last few years, especially as I think kind of COVID hit, the kind of, hey, there's humans, like the humans really matter. And it's a human part, the shortage of talent. All this is pretty critical, and you can have all the data you want in the world, but unless you don't have the right humans, it doesn't get you where you need to go. So fun times.
Great.
Well, thank you for sharing, and we'll check again in a few months, and see what else you're learning further down the road. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Eric. This is great. Thanks.